and welcome to my little Japan vlog slash slideshow video. So I was in Japan this May and I wanted to make this video not only to show to others but also for myself so I can someday in the future look back into the trip. So the trip started on May 9th at around 6 p.m. when we got to the airport. The flight took from 12 to 13 hours. When we arrived in Japan, we first went to the hotel, which was really small, but it was okay because we spent most of the day away from it anyways. After we had settled there, we went to the restaurant that was near the hotel. I got this soba, which was okay. And once we were done with the meals, it had already gotten dark and we went to Akihabara to a maid cafe. It wasn't my first maid cafe experience because I had already been to one in London, but it was my first maid cafe experience in Japan. They gave us cat headbands to wear and I got this drink. You could pay for the maids to do some performances on a little stage, and one of the guys there did, and we all got startled when the music started playing on full volume. The guy sitting close to the stage seemed super excited to see the maid dance, and we all clapped along. Next morning we got breakfast from the hotel's restaurant. Then we headed to Nezu Museum. It had an inside and an outside area, but photos were not allowed in the inside area, unfortunately. The outside area, aka the garden, was beautiful though. Absolutely loved it. Now let me shut up for a second and let the slideshow speak for itself. These pictures and videos definitely don't do justice to the actual scenery. It's something you have to go experience yourself. Then we headed to the Aoyama Flower Market Tea House. They had these Mother's Day banners on the roof since it was one day before Mother's Day when we went there. And there were a lot of beautiful flowers. We all got tea and these, I'm not sure what they're called, scones? They were really aesthetically pleasing and didn't taste bad either. Oh, these pictures are from Mandarake. There was so much stuff that it was overwhelming. And then we went to Animate. These were something I'd been looking forward to. You get to know what different anime characters canonically smell like. Next, we headed to Ghibli Park. Unfortunately, there weren't any cherry blossoms anymore since it was May, but it was beautiful regardless. There was also some foreign food festival in front of it, and there were a lot of people there. But in the park, it was more peaceful. There were people on picnics, and many of them also had cute pets with them. Someone even was walking their hedgehog. And at the end of the day, we had a quick visit to Takeshita Street in Harajuku. We found this good underground restaurant, and I got this katsu curry, which was delicious. Next day, we went to the Art Aquarium Museum in Ginza. This was definitely one of my favorite experiences in Japan. The fish installations were absolutely amazing. My camera again didn't do justice to the installations. The blue lights somehow look purple here. They just don't look as good as they do in real life. At the end, there was this collection of artworks made by some digital artists in collaboration with the museum. You could buy merch made out of them, as well as lots of other stuff from the museum store. After that, we took a Shinkansen to Kyoto. This is the bento I got, which was really yummy. Then we got a taxi ride to the hotel, which this time was not just a small room with a bed and a table, but an actual big nice house. After we had quickly settled into the hotel, we headed to the Gion district to do some shopping. We then stopped to eat. I got this kiyaki, which was amazing. Next day, I got the chance to try this cinnamoroll fruche and this W melon thing. Both were pretty good, but I was disappointed how they don't sell any rye bread here, which is what I usually eat for breakfast in Finland. After breakfast, we briefly went back to Gion. There was also this adorable Miffy store filled with Miffy stuff. This was also one of the best parts of the trip. We came across this pet shop called Peace First, which had these adorable tiny little puppies and kitties. The sellers even let me take one to my lap and pet it, and oh my fucking god, did it make my heart melt. Then we went to this shopping area which had a lot of animal cafes. And at first we visited this owl forest where they had cute owls that you could pet. There was also a squirrel for some reason. And right next to the owl forest there was a Bengal cat forest. This one wasn't that great of an experience because there was a time limit of 30 minutes and the cats just picked a human, sat on their lap and proceeded to spend the whole time on that person's lap. Not a single one of them wanted to sit on my lap. After that we went to get lunch. I got this omurice with a hamburg steak, or is it hamburg steak or hamburger steak? And after that we got these Tanghulu strawberries for dessert, which were also yummy. And then we did some more shopping. Here are the snacks I bought earlier that day. The chips in the middle especially were delicious. Tuesday began, which marks the day for the Fushimi Inari Taisha visit. There were so many torii gates there, and lots of climbing which I didn't mind. On Wednesday we took a trip to Nara to see deers. We found this cafe on the way which was absolutely adorable. The deers were friendly. Well, at least they didn't run away from humans. But they also got a bit aggressive sometimes, biting into my shirt and stuff. And they got crazy over the crackers that you could buy and feed them with. And another pretty garden. Then it was time to go back to Kyoto and visit the Mipig Cafe in the Gion area. The micro pigs were really energetic and adorable. On Thursday we headed to the Arashiyama Monkey Park. Then we went to the cafe I'd seen multiple times on TikTok called Kumo no cha. You could get these cloud-shaped sweets from there that were pretty tasty. Walking through another garden, we came to a bamboo forest. The views were pretty amazing there as well. Let's jump onto Friday. That was the day when we left Kyoto and headed back towards Tokyo. On the way we stopped to spend most of the day in Ghibli Park. When planning the trip to Japan, we originally wanted to visit the Ghibli Museum, but the tickets got sold out pretty much the second they were put up on sale. So this was a great alternative. A lot of fun there, and it was really cool seeing all the Ghibli stuff. There were some areas where filming wasn't allowed, and it was pretty funny how there was a finished brand of a box of matches there. I really would have wanted to take a picture of that. These were from an area where you could take pictures of yourself immersed in well-known scenes in Ghibli movies. Oh, and here's another torille moment. Arabia is a Finnish brand that mostly makes dishes, and these mugs were designed in Finland. I should have bought one of them, honestly. The Ghibli Park was definitely worth the visit even without the ticket that allows you to step inside the houses. If you're a fan of Studio Ghibli and you're going to Japan, you should definitely consider visiting here. After leaving Ghibli Park, we just traveled back to the hotel in Tokyo and went to bed. Saturday was the first day of Design Festa, a huge international art event held in Tokyo Big Sight. I originally heard about Design Festa from Emirichu, so thank you Emily for the recommendation. There was around 6,500 booths selling original art, live painting, performances, food and more. It was amazing seeing all the artists' beautiful works and being able to watch some of them paint on huge canvases. Like, it was so cool seeing them just starting their works and then coming back a few hours later to see how much they've progressed in that time. There were really long lines for the food stalls though, which was understandable because the place was full of people. but the food was quite good even though the portion size was pretty small. I really like this darker area where they were selling different kinds of illuminated works, or works that shone in the dark. After Design Festa, we headed to see a life-size unicorn Gundam statue. There was a big mall right next to it and I got this tomato pasta. The next morning, we tried this Hatsune Miku energy drink. It didn't give me any energy though, so I slept on the ride to Hakone. In fact, during the Japan trip, I slept in almost all of the train rides if I had a chance to sit down. There was a ninja cafe and I got this, I think it was orange soda or orange juice with ramune ice cream on top, and these ninja pancakes were so cute. The workers were dressed as ninjas and they sold ninja stuff there, which was pretty cool. Hakone was a very green place, so naturally I loved it because green is one of my favorite colors. We got to ride these ropeway cable cars. It wasn't my first time riding one of them, but the views were really nice. Then we got to ride one of these pirate ships that looked really cool. Unfortunately, I slept through the ride because that's me. It was raining a little that day too. This was the meal of that day. It was probably the most expensive one throughout the trip, but it was worth it. Then we went to an onsen in Tenseien. I don't have any pictures from the onsen themselves for obvious reasons, but it was a pretty interesting experience. Although I did start to feel dizzy after sitting in the hot water for longer than like 10 minutes. There were multiple baths, some inside and some outside, and even one colder one, which was refreshing after all the hot ones. The next day we went to teamLab Planets, an art museum that is hugely popular among tourists. I had seen a lot of video clips and pictures from it prior to visiting it, so I had my expectations high. Honestly, it looks a little better in videos than it does in real life, to be honest. But it was still pretty cool. After that, I briefly went back to Akihabara, but I was a bit tired with all the anime stores at that point. So I just stayed there for a while and then headed toward Asakusa. I eventually arrived at Senso-ji that had a nice and long shopping street in front of it. This was also the first time and the last during the trip when we got sushi. And the sushi, honestly, it was okay. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I like Japanese food sold in Finland more than actual Japanese food in Japan. Please don't attack me. Our next stop was Tokyo Skytree, a tower that reaches the height of 634 meters. So naturally, the views from up there were pretty cool. Of course, we didn't go to the toppest top, but still, there was this lovely Animore place on one of the lower floors. We saw a sloth through one of the windows, so we knew we had to go inside. We weren't allowed to take videos, unfortunately, but there were so many cute animals and the caretaker was so nice and friendly. He seemed genuinely interested in the guests, which was just us. It didn't bother me at all that there was no one else, cause honestly, having less people there made the experience even better. At one point, the caretaker even brought out an alpaca called Shigeru and encouraged us all to take pictures with him. When it got darker, we headed to Shinjuku. We just wandered around and saw those teeny tiny bars where they could fit like 5 guests. This is from the restaurant we found that day. I got butter chicken curry. And there was cheap natto there, so of course we had to try that. None of us liked it though, which wasn't a surprise. And then we visited this spiral cafe with jelly cats. The funny thing is though that when I came back to Finland and went to a Korean cafe that I had visited a few times, apparently they had also started selling these exact same jelly cats, so it wasn't a unique Japan/Korea experience after all. The last day felt a bit busier than the ones before. We had to go back to the airport at around 5 p.m, so there was this, pressure to see as many things as fast as we could before then. We first went to Asakusa to do some more shopping. Our next stop was Koishikawa Korakuen Gardens. It was so green and lovely. And lastly, we went back to Takeshita Street in Harajuku and stopped at Pompompurin Cafe, which was absolutely adorable. All the foods and drinks were so well made that they looked like artworks, and the workers were dressed in Pompompurin themed costumes and were really energetic and friendly. And the place was decorated with Pompompurin stuff from top to bottom. Airport, I got these fluffy pancakes, and the next pictures are from Finland. I miss Japan. But yeah, I guess that's all I had to say. I hope you liked the video and see you later.